Well, hello, my name is Myra Tanksley. I am recording this on January 22nd, 2018. And if you know of my YouTube channel under Myra Tanksley and my 3 Facebook pages, if you have followed that or at least listened to 1 or 2 audio videos, and you know that I don't put actual video on the recordings. I just call them audio videos because I do have to upload them to YouTube and then I put them on the Facebook pages. But I do have 3 Facebook pages. And first of all, I am a proud single parent of a young man with autism by the name of Marquis. Marquis has high functioning autism. He is being treated like a dog. He doesn't have any rights, no family rights. He's been emotionally, physically abused and neglected. His needs as an autistic individual has been ignored. He has not been allowed to see me, his mother, in over 2 years. He has not been able or been allowed to call me since May the 13th, 2017. And there is no abuse and neglect in our family. The only time you should separate a family is under those circumstances where there's some type of abuse or neglect or dysfunction. I've been an RN for 31 years. I'm a Christian. I'm a member of the Honor Society and another prestigious organization. I am currently in school as well, going for advanced degree. And I am a Black African single mom that's not only proud of my son, I'm proud to be a Christian, and I love my son just as much as anybody else does. And I don't turn my head and hang my lip and keep my mouth quiet and take that subservient role when people are mistreating my son. I advocate for him, I speak up for him, and for that reason I was accused of escalating my son. Now, they would go ahead and have him so riled up and agitated from the environment that they had him in. And I have yet to see anybody really know how to not throw him in sensory overload. So the state facility that he was in basically was for mentally retarded residents. It's an ICF-MR facility, and that means intermediate care facility for the mentally retarded. They did not know how to work with my son, because when I went over there and presented them with triggers, the girl named Amanda Kelly looked at me like I was crazy. I got her on tape. And I said, well, he's not mentally retarded. There's a difference, you know. And these triggers will, you know, help you all to know how to work with my son, you know, so that, you know, if there's a thunderstorm or something like that, you know, and all of a sudden he gets real scared or, you know, does some type of aggressive behavior, kind of know, you know, this is, you know, what is happening. But she looked at me like I was crazy. I said, well, how in the world can you expect to... So I knew people didn't know nothing about autism over there. Then you have one stupid, the former superintendent, that when I would report the things my son told me, and actually I've seen my son get hit and attacked and punched and assaulted by a thug over there who was a state of Ohio employee that worked at the state facility. Of course, they sweep it under the rug. Disability Rights Council swept it under the rug. Ohio Highway Patrol swept it under the rug because it's a state facility. All these people work in concert with each other. They're all corrupt and rotten, you know. They're just hellbound, you know. But like I was saying, you know, when I reported this and tried to get up, you know, justice, so-called justice, you know, the ignorant D. Michael Snow, former superintendent, he said that my son was trying to get his staff in trouble. I said, well, there's no such thing as a autistic troublemaker. I said, because my son is not lying. I said, because I've been over there and seen their staff. I said, they used to roll their eyes at me. I said, if they can't deal with a family member, I know they can't deal with a resident that they're putting in sensory overload. I said, my son just gonna start banging and getting aggressive. But and I'm going to get to my Facebook page too, or pages tell you what they're all about, and then what I'm doing with these recordings, because I have a Facebook page called the Audio Tapes of Marquis Tanksley, His Suffering, Abuse, and Neglect, and I'm letting people hear, because my son is verbal, he's able to, express his feelings, he's able to tell me things, and I said they don't have to try to, because there's a lot of racism in this, want to break up the black family. And, they don't really like nobody coming in there, if they call him troublemaker, I know they call me everything but a wonderful, loving, supportive mother. But they really don't like nobody coming in there, complaining or whatever, writing a grievance. But they can accept it more if it's from a white person. I say even the autism community is racist. And how I know that? Because I lived it. That's the first pages I went to when I joined Facebook page, or when I first joined a Facebook. I went there before I even had any pages, before I even created my 3 Facebook pages. Nothing, no feedback or anything. And you can look at the page and see what they highlighted, what they focus on, what they feature. So yeah, but racism is in every part of American culture. Is in employment, education, sorry to say, is in religion, is in sports, entertainment, is in people's attitudes, how they perceive other races, well, I'm this color, so you're not supposed to be above me or supervise me or charge me, in charge of me. You're supposed to be, because you're black, you're not really, that's really supposed to be for us, because we're better, we're smarter, or whatever, just sick. But all that's from 1776. And I say there's racism in this because, like I said, because when I first found out he was autistic, even though I was a nurse, I wanted to take the bull by the horn and learn as much as I can. So I used to go to autistic message boards and threads and stuff, and and just read up on what other people that are living with it, that's going through it along with myself, and I've never seen any of those parents say, well, they're saying I'm escalating my son and daughter. And because I used to think, I'm going like, well, because Marquis is no different really from any other autistic individual, where whether they're verbal or nonverbal, they will communicate with behaviors. And I said, so when these autistic individuals, whether they're teens or adults or children, when they're having meltdowns, because that's what, they call it in the autism community. It could be physical, aggression. It could be verbal aggression. Or, basically they just call it meltdown. And I said, so when they're having meltdowns at home, and some of them are so violent that they would have to wear helmets, I said, well, who do they blame when these white kids and teenagers and white people with autism, when they're having, aggressive behaviors and meltdowns? Now, who are they blaming for that? Are they blaming these white parents? So I've never seen any white parents write in any of those threads or message boards, this is what's happening. I've been blamed for their behaviors, But that was because they resented me as a black mother. Like, how dare she come in here and, point out our flaws and stuff. And, I love the Bible. I'm a Christian. And, besides this being injustice for my son, especially him, and me too, you could see how God talks about these people, not only in injustice, but how greedy they are and how they use poor and needy people. And there are a lot of people that are disabled. They might not be all that poor, but they're probably not rich unless they're with their families. But they're needy. They need the services. They need the treatments. They needed special ed, the special programs and therapies. So I would consider that needy. And, that's why I say these people are numbered government filth. From Aaron Sanford, which is the lying, unfit, evil, racist, corrupt, limited guardian that was appointed by the corrupt probate court. All the agencies, the courts, the home DD staff, all of them. They're just government filth. They're just, And I said, if they don't change their way, they're going to rot in hell where they belong. Because I read a lot of things. I read the Bible 3 times all the way through, but I've read a lot of things about injustice. But I just probably had read it and didn't really pay too much attention to it. And, I like my Good News Bible, which is today's English version. That's my best interpretation because it's so easy to understand. And I just read this recently. It's in Proverbs chapter 30, verse 14. And it goes like this, quote, "There are people who take cruel advantage of the poor and needy. That is the way they make their living," unquote. And I said, well, that's sickening. That's just sickening. And see, that's my authority. If God said you exist, if God says this stuff exists, it exists. It ain't no use trying to pretend and cover it over and sweep it under the rug. And like the filthy, dirty attorney by the name of Aaron Sanford. And I don't call names. I just describe people. I said, because she's a pathological liar, and she ain't going to send me no letter talking about you slandering me and all that kind of stuff, because I will refer her, which she probably already done been to the Facebook pages, and I will refer her to my YouTube channel. But let me tell you about the Facebook pages. I have 3 of them. The first one is the abuse and neglect of autistic Marquis by the government. The second one is justice for autistic Marquis Tanksley. The third one is the audio tapes of Marquis Tanksley is suffering abuse and neglect. And on the justice page and the abuse and neglect page, I always tell people, like when I'm doing a new audio video of Marquis's recording, I always tell people to start from the very beginning. That means when I first created the page. And that's the main reason why they don't want me to have contact with him, because they know that I get evidence. But I don't have to get any more. I done already exposed these people. Ain't nothing they can do about it either. Because it ain't slander when it's true. And they don't want me to be able to keep collecting evidence of neglect and abuse and exploitation. Then my son, what do you expect for him to say when he's missing his mother that he adores and loves? And we would pray every day. That's why I said these people are evil. But the Lord said, don't worry about visits anymore. He said, don't write them people. I just wrote Trump, and they always kick it back to the state. Federal government always kick it back to state, which shows how ignorant the federal government is. Now, if I'm telling you that the state of Ohio is a party to the abuse and neglect and exploitation of my son, why would you want me to kick it back to them and a state agency so these idiots can police themselves? But it's also about who you're opposing. I found out with Disability Rights Ohio. Now, when I gave them complete evidence of my son being abused and assaulted by one of those state employees over there, nothing. They didn't even want it. They just covered it up. But when it was time, when I went ahead and told them about my son being thrown in a seclusion closet by Columbus City Schools, which is an urban school district. That's right, I'm going with this with racism. And it has a superintendent that happens to be an African-American woman. They went after them like white on rice. So it all depends on who it is, because they'll protect, certain entities. The state facility wouldn't even look at it. And I just left a message with them, and I shouldn't have done it because the Lord told me, he said, don't bother none of them people no more. You step back, be still. I got this thing already handled because I'm going to have to bring him back home. He said, just pray for him. But they're not going to call me because they resent you when you're black and you're speaking up. But I'm a Christian. I don't care about ignorance. I don't care about racism or racist people. And I surely don't care about people that are in denial. I'm not intimidated by government trash. Because that's what I see them as, what the Bible tells me what they are. But I ain't received a letter about cease and desist or you slandering us and stuff, because it's not slander when it's true, especially when that person got the evidence to back up what they're saying. So I've been, putting these recordings of my son. I said, because they love to break up that black family. That's from 1776. I said, but they're not going to speak for my son. I said, because my son loves and adores his mother. He loves his mother. And it is painful for me I go through these recordings and I have to hear the pain and all this stuff all over again. And it's very painful because I'm a victim in this. That's why I said I'll never stand up for another pledge of allegiance. I used to stand up and didn't really recite it because I was going like, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness and justice for all. I said, that's not happening for everybody in this country. For all? So, but now I won't even stand up for it. Now, I'm not all into the national anthem, but I understand what people are saying. They're not just, I'm not going to say, well, I won't stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance because I happen to be American and I have to salute the flag. I'm going to go by what it says. And I said, because he ain't having no life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Can't even see his own mother, a loving, supportive mother, professional mother. And I can't see my son. Because advocating for your son, your disabled son, and they don't have to be disabled, your son or daughter or your loved one, is not abuse or neglect. So my rights have been trampled over. My family rights. I said, I'm not going to stand up and say it. I don't give a darn what the ignorant trash that can't understand it, that's, in denial. And I don't say all white people are racist. All white people are not racist. That's why you got some of them out there marching when it comes to things like civil rights or, Black Lives Matter and stuff, because they're not in denial. They can acknowledge that there's racism in this country. That's why they're out there marching with, other blacks, other whites or whatever. So all white people are not racist. They're not in denial, and they can go past that recognition and say, well, we're going to march and protest to try to do something about it to make our voices heard. Where the majority of these ignorant, idiotic, racist white people and stuff, you can't move forward if you can't acknowledge that there's a problem. But they're just in denial. I have one lady on Facebook, she got the bump and the ban. I call it the denial bump and ban. I said, because all the evidence that I got, and I'm not an ignorant woman, and I got 3 pages full of Facebook. I ain't going tit for tat with nobody. I said, because I done already passed that. I done already proven that I'm not just full of hot air, and my son ain't full of hot air. It ain't just our imaginations. I said, I don't need to try to defend myself to nobody. So she got the ban and bump off of that page for being in denial. I said, because this is just another old, when you threw the race card in and stuff, because they love to try to pass the ball. I said, well, it's not racist to tell somebody to get off your foot. I said, but you won't tell me that I escalate my son when he has aggressive behavior. You're not going to tell these white parents that? That's just simple. But I know that racism has been in this country ever since 1776. And it's real simple. It's just, where the victim race gets treated differently and negatively by the race that's actually, have the power to oppose That's why black people can't practice racism in this country, if you know what it means. Because a lot of people, especially even these white people, they don't understand how they benefit from it, but they do, and they don't really. They get the terms, the definitions confused of the words of racist and prejudice and racism. But it's a systemic process when you talk about racism because of the ISM, that the suffix means systemic. So you're talking about a system. And they don't understand it. I said, but I pass all of that. I said, I tell people, go look at my page and talk to the hand. Talk to the page. That's the way I feel about it. And I don't like collecting evidence, but I got rotten, racist, government trash. And I mean, all these people are just pure scum. I mean, from the Governor John Kasich, like Dewine, Aaron Sanford, D. Michael Snow, Heidi Hughes, Rothschild, Consumer Court, Consumer Services, or whatever that home DD agency is. And I haven't even got to those audio tapes yet. And, you know, probate court, all of them just filled. Robert Montgomery, all of them. Franklin County Board of DD, and they're full of white trash. I said, they're just as racist as they can be over there. I said, they're just full of trash. You know, child corruption services, because they'll commit record fraud. I had somebody commit record fraud named Teresa Fawcett. Was one of those case workers. And they tell them, you got immunity and stuff. You wouldn't believe the crimes that they commit. These government workers, they slander you. They take away people's constitutional rights. I got the documents. I got just tons of evidence where she committed record fraud on a paper that I had filled out and signed. I had the former, I think her title was Executive Director of Disability Rights Ohio. She forged my name. She forged my name on a document just so that they can go after Columbus City Schools. And told me they did it because they needed to have the document in at a certain time. By the end of that day, they needed to have it in. And I wasn't there when they came over, so they went ahead and forged my name on it. So it all depends on who it is. You know, because if you are part of the club or you part of the system, you're gonna get your back scratched. If you go along to get along, they just sweep that stuff under the rug. But let you be black or you be somebody like me and stuff and everything. Because I got treated the same way these white parents with autism is. Like, you can imagine how they can raise sand or throw a spasm about, just little things, But I've been slandered like no tomorrow. But I said, I'm not going to stand up. I probably won't even deal with the national anthem. I said, but the Pledge of Allegiance, I said, I'm not going to sit up there and say that stuff. It just wouldn't come out of my mouth. I said, because he ain't got no life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and neither do I. But especially him. So what I've been doing with the audio tape page, like I said, I've been taking recordings, because Marquis was mistreated in hospitals. He's been mistreated by a lot of people, in school, a couple law enforcement agencies, child corruption services. Because I done went to everybody trying to get him some help. And honey, if you speak up and because I'm supposed to keep my mouth shut. I'm black. I'm not supposed to be in that position to be telling the whites what to do. That's your racism. And I don't give a darn who denies it and stuff. I said, because there's a reason why things happen. And, you try to speak up and say, no, wait a minute, he's got autism. You can't, and they resent you for that. It's like, because you can look and tell they don't know how to, work with him, or, if they knew how to work with him, you wouldn't see, them approaching him the right way that they approach him and stuff. But, and then I would get slander and people roll their eyes at me. I said, I can imagine how they treat him. If you can't deal with the family member who's trying to be part of the team and help you, be able to work successfully, with that patient or client. You could just imagine when he would start having aggressive behavior, which was their fault. But they used to blame that on me. I said, no. I said, he fits to me, not because of me. And maybe if y'all would knew how to work with my son and not treat him like an animal and terrorizing and traumatizing with your environment, the noise, the way you approach him, maybe when I came over here, he'd be calm. He would be calm and laughing and say, hey, Mom, guess what? I had a cool day today. He has never told me that. He couldn't tell me that because they kept him, in a state of anxiety. As this particular recording is just awful. It's just horrific. The things my son told me that day. But over and over again, as a mother, as I've been none of them white people want to go in there and see their son and daughter the way I've seen them, especially if they're disabled, or hear the things that my son has told me over the years, And I'm still pissed about it. And I said, I vow I'm going to put it out there. Ain't none of that scum going to come in my face. Because I don't really want to hurt them people. But if I would, and I'm not talking about physically. I'm talking about we were sitting, I would just get up and say, I feel like I'm sitting in a room of filth. I don't even sit across from you. You're just government scum. But to me, they're not better than any of these criminals out the street. And I mean it. These government officials that are sitting in these offices and stuff, or the directors of agencies, or, Mike Dewine, Aaron Sanford, I would look at her like, it'd just be like looking at a piece of garbage on the street. And that doesn't mean she can't avert hell, because Jesus died for her too. But she'll have to repent from what she's doing, because she gets his SSI checks. She was appointed his limited guardian in January 2013. And besides exploiting him herself, she's that scum that, I just told you about in Proverbs 30, verse 14. Take cruel advantage of poor, needy people. That's how they make their living. He lives in poverty while she collects all this, these SSI checks. But I think her former law partner kicked her to the curb, because she now works with the Nye Law Group. But I lost all respect for lawyers. I said, but ain't none of them going to sit down and talk. Because for one thing, I'm not intimidated by sinful trash. Because that's just the lowest of low. I'm not intimidated. And I'll just come out and tell them what I think of them. I said, because you people just filth. I wouldn't even want to sit in a room with them. But that's my reason. Their reason is because they wouldn't want to get their feelings hurt. Because, them people think, oh, I'm the lawyer and I'm white. And we're supposed to shake and shiver and shudder and everything else while they're in front of us. But to me, they're no better than a criminal out in the street. Matter of fact, these people are worse than criminals, because that's how they make their living. They make paychecks off of these wards and poor and needy people that they're supposed to be making sure that they give them the right services and everything. And therapies, and they make money off of them. Why they live in poverty, why they, and that's what they do. And I said, bingo, and I said, that's sad. But, it just, like I said, we just got government, racist government filth in our lives. So, with this audio tape page, I am putting recordings of my son. And there's many, many more I have to actually post, because I'm in November 2012 now, and I'm going to go all the way up. Because like I said, the last time Marquis was allowed to call me was May the 13th, 2017. And he adores me, and he loves his mother, and he misses his mother. And of course, he was telling me that, and how much he loves me, and he wants to come back home, and but then, with him being high, like I said, he's verbal and he's high functioning. He's able to tell me some things too, and they don't like that. So because if they care about him, they wouldn't abuse him. He wouldn't be living in abuse and neglect. And they would let him be able to have a family relationship. Anytime you're going to take somebody's own mother away from them, You just think they're dogs. And that's the way I feel about it. You know. I said, they think Marquis is just worse than an inmate. I said, because even these inmates get family calls and family visits, and, you know, they have a right to see their family, you know, I guess, as long as they keep their privileges are okay, or that sort of thing. But they still, you know, have family rights. I said, anytime he can't see his own mother, I said, if they care so much about him, they would let him see his own mother. A loving, supportive mother, not a mother that has abused and neglected him like they're doing. But they're all about trying to protect herself. But I'll tell that trash. I said, you know, I got it all on Facebook. You know, talk to the hand. You know, you're not going to say nothing to me about me slandering anybody in this room if I was sitting up there with them. But that'll never happen and stuff, because they wouldn't be able, because that's one thing. When they're racist like that, they can't stand for no black person to educate them and set them straight. They wouldn't be able to stand it. So, and that's the way I am. And I don't sugarcoat it. I don't whitewash it. I don't try to say it's sweet. I don't use profanity. But I just come out and tell them. I said, because you ain't nothing but government filth. Every last one of you sitting at this table. And I got evidence, you know. I got evidence on every one of you. But like I said, I think they already know that, because I done already had these pages out. The first page, I think I had it since 2014. So it's probably been 4 years with my abuse and neglect page. And then I did the justice page after that. And then I just did the audio tape page maybe a year ago. Because I said, you know, they always had tried to make, you know, the black family dysfunctional and separated and all that kind of stuff. I said, you know, they don't have to speak. I don't even have to speak for my son, because he's able to verbalize his feelings, and he has done that on all of these recordings. So, like I said, the last time me and him was allowed to visit was March the 15th, 2015. And, you know, it'll be 3 years since I was last allowed to visit with my son. And that filthy lawyer, dirty lawyer, Erin Sanford, she was trying to make a supervisory visit. She had booked this place that deals with supervised visit for parents fighting for custody of their child. I said, well, that ain't this kind of party. But I still went but Jesus shut it down. But I still went because I wanted to see my son, you know. But God shut it down, because you had to pay and stuff. And even the girl, because they make money, you know, the agency makes money because they send reports of the visit to the court. But Sanford was trying to turn our visits into a visit that, you know, where the father has to drop off the kid, or the mother drops off the kid so the father can visit, you know, for 15 minutes or something like that. I said, that's not the type of case this is. I said, we don't have abuse and neglect in our family. But that's what she was trying to do. That's how dirty and filthy, you know, this lying lawyer is. But I wouldn't even want to, like I said, I wouldn't even want to be in the same room with her. I would just feel like I'm just in a place that's just full of filth, you know, just maggots and everything. That's what I think of these people. I just pure low-life scum. So, anyway, so with these audio videos, and there's never any video on there, it's just recordings. It's just the audio. I'm just letting people hear from Marquis's own mouth, his own words, how he feels. He describes incidences of abuse, neglect, exploitation, assault. Even though I did see my son get assaulted, I've heard my son get physically abused, verbally abused, and I've seen him actually get punched. So, this particular tape, and I might as well get to it, it's just very horrific. But I do want to say that also, you know, the last time I actually got to visit with my son was March the 15th, 2015. But if you go to those pages and see the cover pic, the last time I actually viewed or seen Marquis was July the 8th, 2015. And that was through my own effort, because he had told me he would be leaving that day. He had an appointment with the counselor that the U.S. Department of Education, Sanford didn't initiate that. The U.S. Department of Education initiated it, because I filed a report or a complaint. And that's what they ordered the school district to do, to give him counseling for a whole year. So he told me he would be leaving that day and what time. And I waited outside. And that is on videotape. That is on videotape. You can find it, you know, either on one of the Facebook pages. I think I put that on. It might be on all three of the pages, but I also have these audio videos in my YouTube channel, because I upload them to YouTube before I put them on Facebook. And I probably got, like, I don't know, about maybe at least 60 and counting of audio videos. But that's the last time it's been over 2 years since I last seen my son. But they don't want me to see him, and him still telling me, because they got abusive staff. I said, because, you know, you got unqualified staff when they don't know nothing about autism, when they don't know how to deal with a family member, and when they don't have the personalities. But the way I feel about it, and I was just listening to this particular audio video or recording. I was just listening to this recording that I'm getting ready to put, and you make an audio video, this one that I'm getting ready to do now. And on the other side, it had recordings of me calling people and telling people about what my son was telling me, how he was beaten and hit in the back, his back was hurting, and all of that. And I was telling that woman, I said, well, you got a lot of unqualified employees, because at that time he was at Columbus Developmental Center, the ICF MRI facility that I was talking about earlier. And I said, and a qualified worker means you got to have the personality, you need to know how to deal with family members, and you got to have a knowledge base. I said, but if they can't even deal with a family member, how in the world are they going to deal with somebody that might be having aggressive behavior through no fault of their own? Because when I say that, I'm not, you know, blaming my son for his behaviors or disability. I said, because I know I would come in there, and the noise and the staff and the abusive staff and you know, the way they treat the residents and stuff. I said, they put him through hell. He suffered like hell. And that's why when I look at Sanford, or, you know, if I seen him or anything like that, it would just be like filth. I would sneer at my nose and have to walk on. It's just like, you're garbage. I don't give a darn if you're a lawyer or a judge, but anybody that makes their living like that and allows people to live like that while they collect money, you're worse than any of those inmates that are on death row. Now, that's just the way I feel about it. I said, them people need to be in jail, not only disbarred, but in jail. But that's just the way I feel about it. And I told that woman when I was listening to the tape, and then I'll go ahead and play this tape and tell you what's on it. I told her, I said, I don't have no sympathy for your staff, because you shouldn't take a job. You know what you're getting into. If you can't handle people that are developmentally disabled, might have behaviors, get another job. They don't give you no right to abuse them and, you know, to beat on them and, you know, to restrain them unnecessarily, because they won't do what they tell you, you know, or they don't understand, or you're escalating, and they don't give you no right, you know. And there's a lot of things that my son has suffered through that have been crimes, and nobody has gotten in trouble for it. He's been beaten, he's been punched, he's been abused, he's been stolen from. And I forgot, Marquis had told me this. One of the things he tells me on this tape, and you'll hear it, said that the staff turned on some nasty music, put it in his ear, and tried to make him ejaculate. Now, I never said that word to my son. My brothers, his uncles, has never said ejaculate to him. And his father's not even in his life. So where did he hear that word ejaculate from? And like I told that racist trash that used to be the superintendent over there, Mike Snow, Mike Snow, I said, there's no such thing as an autistic troublemaker. Because that's what he wrote. Marquis is trying to get his staff in trouble. I said, the autistic people don't have that cognitive ability that, to sit up there, oh, I'm going to get Maggie or Sue in trouble, or Bob or Tim or whatever. They just don't have that cognitive ability. But, so when I was listening to that, I said, what? I had forgot all about that. Because there's so much. I got hundreds of tapes, hundreds of pictures and evidence. And I had forgotten all about it, And then he's also cussing on his tape. But where did he hear the profanity from? Of course, he would hear it at school too, because I don't cuss. I don't care how pissed I am. I don't cuss. Because I think that you don't have to cuss. I think you can be intelligent enough to voice your ire, your dislike for something, just to describe it. That's why I ain't never called nobody a bitch or MF or nothing like that. But I will describe a lying, dirty, racist. I just describe people for. It's like me saying they got black hair or brown hair or brown eyes or green eyes or whatever. I just describe the kind of human being they are. But when I heard that, I said, what? And just think, as me, as a mother, I said, because like I said, I'm a victim in this thing. And you have to go in there and hear your son telling you this. I said, them white people have been ready to burn that place down, some of them white parents. But they fought me every way, denied it, swept it under the rug, and everything else. So that place, they ain't nothing but trash. And that's why I say the names, I say the agencies, and I describe them. Ain't nobody going to come at me and say anything. Because it ain't slander when it's true. So on this tape, it's when Marquis was at Columbus Developmental Center, the ICF MRI facility. It's from November 17th, 2012, during a visit. And when I got there, Marquis is very upset and agitated. He tells me why he's that way. It was a really bad day for him at that place. He said it was too noisy. He said T. John hit him in the back. He said a Matt, T. John, and a Chris fucked him up. And again, I don't cuss, but he's hearing these words from other people. He told me his bed was too hard. And see, I have to de-escalate him because he's already upset, but I would get blamed for this. Because at times, when he would vent to me, he would get real loud, because of the emotional pain. And times, that they have restrained him, they have hurt my son. Like on that particular day, he was telling me his back was hurting. Because he said T. John hit him in the back. And they probably had their foot all in his back and the way they was holding him and stuff. So he would be in a lot of emotional, physical pain. And my heart would just be splitting in two, but I couldn't get upset. I had to stay strong to try to de-escalate him and keep him calm. But I was escalating him. I said, no, maybe if you animals, you savages, wasn't treating my son like this, maybe when I come in there, he could say, Mom, I had a wonderful day today. I had fun with the staff. But, when I heard that, when he was talking about, them putting the music in his ear and trying to make him ejaculate. And he said the word, first he said percolate, then he said ejaculate. So he heard it from somebody. And he was, like I said, using curse words that he done heard other people say. And then he was even saying that it was noisy, the staff was cursing him. So he said it was noisy, the staff was cursing, T. John hit him in the back. He said Matt, Chris, and T. John fucked him up. And T. John and Robert, who assaulted and abused Marquis before, restrained him. He said T. John and Robert restrained him and knocked him out. He said his back was hurting. The bottom of his back was hurting. He told me staff turned on music, nasty music, put it in his ear and tried to make him ejaculate. And he was just very angry and very upset that he was treated that way. I said, what do you think? He's not an inanimate object. He's not a table. He has feelings. And that's why I said, well, if I see any of those people, but I know vengeance is mine, says the Lord, I will repay. That's in Romans, I think in chapter 12, I think. But it's in the book of Romans. And, you know, because I seen God punish a lawyer. And he made sure that, now he wanted me to know about that one. He might have already done things to some of these people, and I might not never know. But he made me go and get the newspaper to find out about attorney David Belenke. And there his name was in the obituaries. Because I think God was just following up. Because when this man was bragging on the phone to me and lying and thinking he was a phenomenon and bragging about, running over people in court, I felt something I never felt before. And it was heated anger, but it wasn't from me and it wasn't to me. But later on, I realized that it was the wrath of God. When the Lord spun me around in Walmart and made me get that newspaper. And I don't get the newspaper, but something made me get the newspaper that day. And I usually don't read obituaries. I just read like the front page, and I'll go to the Metro State section. I don't read the comics or the obituary, but I read the whole paper, including obituary. His name was right at the top. And the Lord, spoke to me and said, vengeance is mine, I will repay. He said, and this is a warning to his friends in the system. Now, this happened back in, 2014? 2014 or 2013? I can't remember. But he had died unexpectedly at home. The Lord just, because God deals with people in a lot of different ways. You can just read about how he dealt with different people, And sometimes you just put your light out. You're so evil, he'll just boom. Because this man thought he was the cat's meow, and he said probate court loved him. Oh, another phenomenon. I got thousands. I think he said 10,000 hours he's been appointed by probate court, corrupt probate court. And that Robert Montgomery and those magistrates, that trash down there. I said, these people are just pure filth. They're no better than any of those people on the street. And I'll tell them that. If I was sitting, I said, you people ain't no better than, get out of my face. I said, I feel like I'm just sitting up here. I might as well be sitting up here in here with a bunch of inmates. And I said, that's the reason why God talks about injustice. Because God is even sick of you people. Because when he talks about injustice, he's not talking about the average Joe on the street. He's talking about these people that work in the illegal system. Judges and these corrupt, lying lawyers like Sanford and court investigators and courts and agencies, and they all go along to get along. That's who he's talking about. And there's a lot in the Bible about injustice. And God is very angry with it. He calls them wicked. He calls them perverse. He says they're corrupt. They're evil. They're evil people. They're corrupt. They're just a mess. So if they said in front of my face, I said, don't try to put on your airs and try to pretend you better than me. You're lower than me. You really rise. Because I don't go around, taking people's rights away and using people for money. Now, all has sinned and come short of the glory of God. Yeah, I'm in that group. But I'm not in that group that you in. I said, I don't take cruel advantage of poor and needy people. And then take their money and make money off of them and then get a paycheck out of it. I said, that's pretty low down and dirty. And that's where I feel about them. But anyway, let me go ahead and let you hear this tape. And like I said, I was just shocked. I was just totally shocked, hearing how, he was saying over and over that he was hit and they fucked him up and he had got mad. I guess he heard somebody said, I'm going to beat your ass or something, because he was saying a profanity that he had heard them say. And then when he said about them putting the nasty music in his ear and trying to make him ejaculate, I said, where did he get that word from? I said, ain't nobody been trying to teach him about ejaculate or ejaculation and all that kind of stuff. So here you go. And I think I'm going to play through it twice. Here we go. So there you had it, hear it, and it, it put tears in my eyes, because he said, "Can I cry my eyes out?" And I remember I said, "Come here to mommy," and I was hugging him, and I'm trying to, comfort my son from other people abuse, and they don't get in trouble for that. But I'm just I said, "Lord, when you put him down, I don't care how long it takes you, or when you do it, will you please let me know?" But that's Jesus' choice; he can decide. But you could hear him say it was noisy and he didn't like the place. And then you heard him say the music and try to make me ejaculate and all this. But I'm going to play it real quick again because I only got 7 more minutes. So here we go so that you can just listen carefully again. It's about 3 minutes here.
Tell me about everything that's happening. Restrain me and knock me out. Who did that? John and Robert. Oh, Robert was over there again? Mm-hmm. My fucking back is hurt. My fucking back is hurt. I'm not very happy right now. If I just come out here and go in these fucking places where I don't like, hey, saw here tonight, this fucking quiet place here. Just because I'm here doesn't mean you don't love me, but you do. Back hurts, man. Oh, my back. And it stings my ears. Make me try to ejaculate. Oh, is that what kind of music it is? I'm high now. Can't cry my eyes out. Come here, Mom. Come here, Mom. Can't cry my eyes out. Come here, Mom. Come here, Mom. I won't cry my eyes out. I won't cry my eyes out. Can't cry my eyes out. Can't cry my eyes out. You can. Mommy knows. And I love you so much.
So there you have it, where, you know, he said it was noisy, he didn't like the place, and, you know, and like I said, I was just playing snippets of it. I got the whole conversation when he was saying that, you know, the music they put in his ear and try to make him ejaculate, and just abusing my son left and right. And he was asking me, could he cry his eyes out, and I was comforting. I said, come here, and I was holding him. And, you know, he kept saying his back was hurting, the bottom of his back. And, of course, he's using cussing words that he's hearing them say to him, and about fucking him up and all of that. And bullshit. He even said that. I just complete abuse. And that's why I said, if I see, you know, Heidi Hughes and John Kasich and Aaron Sanford stuff, I just, you filth, get out of my face. You know. And I know Jesus went to the cross for them. I said, but they deserve to be in the pits of hell. I just boot them there. I said, because that's just wrong. It just, you know, and I'm still pretty pissed off about it too. But there you have it. This will be in YouTube channel, and then it will be on the audio tape page. But I think I'm going to go ahead and put this on all three of my pages. The audio tape page, the justice page, the abuse and neglect page, and also Myra Tanksley. My individual page, you know, I mean, profile. Because they just had him, you know, he said TJ punched him in the back, and, you know, it was too noisy, and they were cursing over there, and he was repeating what he was hearing them say, too, you know. Just abuse, just terrible. And he's still going through that stuff in the community. And we haven't got to those tapes yet through Consumer Support Services and the little rundown Section 8 like little townhome they have him in. Those tapes start in 2015, and Marquis telling me how he got choked, you know. I mean, it's just been awful. They're all trash. They're all, you know, government trash. That, you know, if they don't change their way, they're gonna bust hell wide open. But God has a way of getting His vengeance on people and stuff. Because Marquis ain't going through what he's going through because Jesus thinks he deserves it. He's innocent and disabled. Now remember, he's autistic and been treated like that. Now, so God got a thing waiting for him. And then you wonder why some people drop dead, or something happened to the families or the kids or something like that. Because God just waiting to get His vengeance on them for mistreating one of His own. Because Jesus said, when you do it to the least of my burden, you done it to me. And they're going to have to answer to the way they treated my son. I might not be able to wave a wand like Jesus can, but He can wave that wand and put you down and make you suffer for what you done to other people. And I know Marquis ain't the only one. That's what's so bad. That's a system here in Ohio and probably other places across the country that's nationwide where they mistreat people. But there you have it. Look for it on the audio tape page and the YouTube channel. Marquis, I love you. I miss you. I think about you every day. Jesus is Lord. He's going to bring you back home. He's keeping you, he's protecting you, and he loves you, and I love you too. And hang on in there. And thank you all for listening.